number 10, this game killed 500,000 people. It's Bo. Bo was a board game that involved a 14-faced dice and some serious strategy. Bo was an absolute banger of the Han Dynasty, so we're talking 206 BC to around 220 AD. This is a long time for a game to be surviving and thriving. Bo lost its popularity when it led to a whole host of untimely deaths. Bo hasn't been played in 1,500 years as a result. So basically, here's the story why. Two ancient Chinese kingdoms were brought together when two men played Bo together. Louis Shan played Prince Kui, but as Shan won the game, Kui got very angry and threw the heavy board at the visitor's head, killing him. This was enough to anger Shan's father, who declared war on the kingdom, marching 500,000 troops towards the capital. What ensued was a bloody war that killed hundreds of thousands of soldiers and civilians, and well, since then the game has basically been retired. Probably for the best. Coming in at number 9, we have EA's Madden NFL. I have to say that I've never actually played this game. I've played PES, but that's like football. The NFL is the National Football League, one of America's favourite sports leagues to watch. This game allows players to play as their favourite North American sports stars on the PS4 and Xbox. So this game is not so much cursed for the people at home that play it than it is for the people unlucky enough to have been on the cover of it. The game came out in 1999, and over the past 19 years, 15 of the cover stars have befallen injury or misfortune in some unexpected way. This list includes Barry Sanders, Michael Vick, and Rob Gronkowski. The rumours of the game were so strong that EA have even publicly denied that there's a curse, and I feel like once they mention the curse, there's definitely a curse. Doesn't make me feel any better. Okay, next up at number 8, this game has driven people mad. We have $10,000 magic squares. If you like difficult puzzles, you'll probably have heard of, if not even played with, magic square puzzles. These puzzles work by each direction of squares in a line creating the same sum. Now it works very well with 4x4, 5x5, 6x6, 7x7, so on and so forth. But at the moment nobody has been able to create a 3x3 magic square that works. In 1996, Martin Gardner, a mathematician, offered $10,000 to anyone who could generate one, but well over 20 years later, nobody's been able to do it. Many have tried and they've literally sent themselves doolally in the process. $10,000 or your sanity? I know which I'd prefer. Coming in at number 7, we have Lady Spades. Lady Spades is kind of like a Bloody Mary, but actually worse. The idea with Lady Spades is also to summon an angry, probably dead woman, although Lady Spades does come with a bit of a positive. If you manage to successfully summon the spirit, you can make a wish. But like with all occult games and assorted demonic summonings, Lady Spades comes with a few cons too. If you in any way annoy or upset the spirit, not only will she not grant you your wish, she will make the opposite happen, and she may even possibly haunt you, so probably not worth the risk. The stakes with Lady Spades are pretty high, and I'd have to say, I don't want to dig with them. Coming in at number 6, we have Taboo the Sixth Sense. There is a reason that Taboo the Sixth Sense was taken off the shelf, and that reason is it was probably cursed. In 1988, the game was for the NES console and was kind of like a tarot reading, future predicting game. Players would enter their name, an age, and a question, and it was kind of maybe like a bit more of an in-detail Death Clock or Magic 8 Ball combined. This game would predict your future by giving you a videographic tarot reading. It seems that there might have been something more mystical going on here though, as the game reportedly accurately predicted the tragic deaths of some of its young players. Also, can we just listen to the opening music? Like, clearly this game is cursed. Again, let's have a listen to the music when the tarots are being shuffled. I don't like it, not one bit. Number 5, we have tunnels. Tunnels is another mirror game, and by now you should basically know that all mirror games are pretty damn cursed. For this one, you're supposed to set up 2 big mirrors facing one another and stand in the middle. So basically, you stand in the middle, looking into the front-facing mirror and counting how many frames you can see over your shoulder in your reflection. Like mirror after mirror after mirror after mirror. It's probably enough to send you mad by actually just looking at yourself reflected that many times. Anyway, you're supposed to look out for movement in the frames, as many of the yous reflected are thought to reflect yous from other dimensions. It's all a bit mind-bending. But basically, so it goes, one of the versions of you may bring something bad from their dimension. You don't want to summon that kind of thing, and also, you may now exist in this world and be good, but you might not be good in all of the universes, so probably best to just leave this one alone. Coming into number 4, we have the Voodoo Doll board game. Whose idea was it to invent a Voodoo Doll board game? I'm honestly not sure black magic lends itself to gaming. Many believers in voodoo magic will tell you that actually it's not something to be toyed with. Nonetheless, Kappa Games have brought out a game not so ironically called Cursed that includes 4 voodoo dolls that lets you place curses on other players. Now the game is part card, part pin in effigy. Classic. If you have the fewest pins in your voodoo doll when someone reaches 10 pins, then you become the voodoo king or queen and you win. While this does sound like good harmless fun, and actually I now have to admit I kinda wanna play it, I'm not sure that we should be messing with voodoo. Coming into number 3, we have an online game called White Enamel. So White Enamel is clearly cursed, or haunted, or both. At this point it's pretty much of a much, right? There's definitely some bad juju here and I don't want to be a part of it. So this web point and click seems to be some kind of horrifying online game or interactive movie or something. I just don't like it. When the site launches, you're overlooking a town. You can then explore parts of it, and it seems to be a sprawling mental asylum with scary sounds and scary rooms. There is one part where you can draw on the walls in blood. Also, the page loading screens are needles that lose fluids as if we the viewer are being injected. I don't like that. Don't inject me. Stay away from me. When on this website, I noticed that my browser was telling me that it was not secure, so either this game will curse you or curse your computer in the form of a virus. Either way, I think I'm good. I'm just gonna stay away from this one. Coming in at number 2, we have Yahtzee. You might not know this, but Yahtzee is one of the top board games to cause domestic violence. There have been a number of Yahtzee related bust-ups and even some deaths. For those of you unfamiliar with Yahtzee, it is a random chance dice roll game in 13 rounds. 13. This is a pretty cursed number if I ever heard one. Basically, it seems like this game evokes a lot of strong feelings. Notably, a 9-year-old called the police when a game of Yahtzee devolved into a brutal fight between his parents. His drunken father hit his wife with a wine bottle, and it seems that she also resorted to violence. The pair were questioned by the police, and when they arrived on the scene, the child was taken away into protective custody. Another Yahtzee game led to a Florida man choking his wife, and another Christmas game of Yahtzee led to the notorious killing of a mother of 3 by her children. They put a bag over her head and then hid her body in the shed over the entirety of winter. So Yahtzee, I don't know, I just don't think it brings out the best in people, and maybe you shouldn't play it. Finally, coming into number 1, this is a bit of a Scottish mystery, and we all know I love a good spooky legend, especially when it comes from Scotland. That's right, at number 1 we have the Lewis Chessmen. I actually love this story, and I love chess, although maybe I wouldn't fancy playing with this set for fear of what would happen to me. So the story goes that in 1831, a high tide exposed a cave on the coast near Uig on the Isle of Lewis off North Scotland. I'd love to be there right now. Scotland. Shout out. In that cave, a local labourer found a chest. Thinking it may contain treasure, he bust it open and found a different kind of treasure. Chess pieces dating back to the 1200s, so a then 600-year-old game. Like, it's pretty intense. The pieces were made from walrus tusk ivory and are very expressive little pieces. The labourer was afraid of them when he saw them, initially running away thinking they were evil fairies. His wife screamed at him and sent him back to retrieve the pieces, which quickly became valued in the community. Sadly, bad luck befell the Highlander who found them. Most of them now sit in the British Museum in London. However, the urban legend goes that guard dogs and police dogs that enter the building will not walk past them. The chess pieces are thought to have come from Norway, so perhaps they have some kind of Viking Norwegian curse hanging over them. I love it. Coming in at number 10, we have Bingo. It might seem like a glorious game for senior citizens, but it turns out that Bingo has been behind a very high number of deaths. Honestly, when I think high drama, I don't tend to think Bingo, but I am wrong. There are far too many instances to even report in this one point, so I'll just mention a few. In 2002, tech worker Brett Keaton managed to hack a Vegas bingo machine into allowing him to play more cards than he paid for. When he realized that he had been found out, he committed suicide by jumping from the San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge. In 2012, a 25-year-old woman in the Philippines killed herself the day after losing $400 in bingo. In the same year, a former Marine killed a 65-year-old woman outside a bingo hall in Jacksonville. Because of the demographic of their clientele, bingo halls often are the scenes of death. Old age pensioners sometimes die of heart attacks in the excitement. In 2014, Gala Bingo in the UK came under fire when a game of bingo was played on, despite an 87-year-old woman dying in the middle. Do I really think that bingo is a cursed game? Well, no. I actually think it's pretty great, but you should enjoy it responsibly. Coming into number 9, we have Fallout 3. Now this has kind of been disproved, but at the time of release, a lot of people were worried that Fallout 3 was cursed. Why? Well, there was some spooky stuff going on hidden within the game that led a lot of people into thinking that actually it was spookily predicting the future. The conspiracy theory arose when players said that the Morse code that the game is broadcasting in stations was accompanied by a DJ announcer that was saying mysterious things like "the Queen has died today," followed by a bout of Morse code that was translated as a date. Now, the Queen's death date was set to be in 2014, but she's still surviving and thriving. If Britney wins an Oscar in 2023 as predicted in the game, then I will officially be worried again. Game designers Beth Desser have denied that there are any hidden messages in the game, but all it takes is one twisted game designer and who knows? Speaking of twisted game designers, is that what's going on here? At number 8, we have Killswitch. If the urban legends are to be believed, Killswitch was a game created by Russians in the Soviet Union era. It is said that between 5,000 to 10,000 copies of the game were released in the dwindling days of the Soviet in 1989. The game was a horror game in which you had to battle demons and monsters in an abandoned coal mine. How very Soviet Union. Allegedly, no one ever proved that they completed the game, as when you were done, it would magically delete itself from your computer. Weird. In 2005, the rumor goes that an unopened copy cropped up in Japan. Now this was played by Yamamoto Ryuichi. I'm really sorry if I butchered that. Ryuichi set up a YouTube channel to document his own gameplay, but unfortunately, he only ever made one video. This was a video of him staring at his computer and crying. That is the last we have ever seen or heard from him. Was the game cursed? Who knows? Alright, coming in at number 7 we have Jumanji. Did I want to add a fun one to the middle of this list, or is making 3 parts of this video a bit of a stretch? You decide. For the purposes of this video, I actually wish that there was a real-life Jumanji. Jumanji the movie was originally released in 1995, but saw a revamp in 2017. Now in the original, 2 kids find a magical board game, a cursed magical board game that unleashes a plague of dangers that can only be stopped by completing the game. I loved this movie as a kid, and my lasting image was when they all get swallowed up by the floor. Me and my sister used to play that on our living room floor. I'm gonna go out there and say, actually, this is one of the best movies of the 90s. There, I said it. In 2017, the Cursed Game was a video game, which somehow, in my opinion, I think is a little bit less cool. The original board game looked pretty awesome. You can actually buy the Jumanji board game these days in like Walmart, etc. I don't think it's actually cursed, but you know, we'll see. Coming in at number 6, we have Berserk. The Legend of Berserk is the top video game urban legend, isn't it? I'm surprised we haven't actually even mentioned it in this list before. Berserk is a classic arcade era game that lets you battle robots, which, you know, cool. hurrah for robots. Less on the hurrah side of things, because actually the game is the first ever video game to be linked to the death of a human. I love how I said that like loads have been linked to deaths of animals. Anyway, in 1981, Jeff Daly died playing the game. Now just 1 year later, a young, healthy 18-year-old dropped dead in front of the machine. Peter Borowski had set a new high score for the game, and as he stepped away, proud of his achievement, he dropped down dead. Both deaths were ruled as heart attacks, and you can imagine what the headlines in the 80s were like. A good number of people actually did start to think that Berserk was cursed, and they just wouldn't play it. Okay, a game that I don't think I'd ever play. Coming into number 5, we have Virtual Girlfriend. There are many reasons not to play Virtual Girlfriend, the game that illegally used Mia Khalifa as a cover girl. 1, like, dude, come on. And 2, it's cursed. By cursed, I mean that the company who made the game made it as a malware scam, and you could end up getting your credit and debit card details stolen. The malware in the game was also able to access phone numbers, contacts, and read your texts. Since the dawn of the age of the smartphone, surreptitious and illicit companies have been creating dodgy phone games specifically designed to steal data and worse. Ooh, I like this one. Coming in at number 4, we have The Curse of Scotland. Playing cards were invented by the Chinese in around the 9th century. They are the oldest game that we humans are still regularly enjoying. With a long history has come a lot of strange instances with playing cards. On their surface level, card games are instrumental in many gambling games which have tempted people into losing more than they have. While we could consider this to be a curse unto itself, perhaps there is something even deeper going on. The nickname The Curse of Scotland is specifically applied to the 9 of Diamonds card, which is considered to be particularly bad luck. The name is further applied to people who have had spells of bad luck in a number of card games, leading to their misfortune. Have they had the Curse of Scotland bestowed upon them? We have a good old-fashioned Las Vegas legend on the go at number 3. We have The Curse of Megabucks. Megabucks is a game created by International Game Technology and is a Nevada lottery, but also the name of a slot machine popular on the Vegas Strip. The rumors are that if you win big, if you win the Megabucks from Megabucks, you will become cursed. It's said that the majority of players who have become millionaires from Megabucks have died early tragic deaths. One example is Cynthia J. Brennan. She won $34.9 million on the Megabucks machine at the Desert Inn Casino in Vegas in the year 2000. Just 6 weeks later, she was tragically involved in a car crash with her sister. Sadly, her sister was killed instantly, and the jackpot winner needed all of her limbs amputated, leaving her as a quadriplegic. Similar stories of death and misfortune have surrounded other jackpot winners. Sure, you might win big, but would it be worth it? An old favourite at number 2, we have Monopoly. Monopoly. Remember Yahtzee from episode 2? Well, Monopoly is regularly involved in cases of domestic violence. We could talk about all of those cases, but like with Yahtzee, they are plentiful. Instead, I'm going to talk about something perhaps even creepier. Have you ever heard of the Mandela effect? This is where people think that they're living in a different dimension or universe from that which they grow up in. It's called the Mandela effect because of a situation that occurred where some people were in total belief that the equal rights fighter and former president of South Africa died in prison in the 1970s, whereas in actuality he was released from jail and died in 2014. To cut a long story short, this led to a lot of people believing that actually we're living in many different parallel universes. There are loads of examples of this, one of which comes from the humble game of Monopoly. Many people swear that Mr. Monopoly had a monocle, others are equally adamant that he never had one. What do you think? Finally, coming into number 1, this is truly disturbing, we have Momo. This game has a lot of similarities with Blue Whale, but is a different social media game sweeping its curse across the internet. So the game involves texting a mysterious phone number with a terrifying bulgy-eyed bird woman avatar. That doesn't sound too scary, but like, have a look at her. Blah. The mystery number then replies and sends back a series of challenges and disturbing threats, as well as bombarding the user with spooky and often horrifying images. The Civil Guard of Colombia made an announcement demanding that nobody plays Momo or engages with the phone number. They did this in response to the suicides of 2 teenagers who had played the game and received texts demanding that they kill themselves. Unfortunately, the game has also spread across the world, sparking suicides in Argentina and India, and scaring parents and kids alike elsewhere. If you're watching, please do not feel tempted to play Momo. It is a sick and twisted cyberbullying game. Don't engage with it, just stick to chess. I like chess. Or come play Settlers of Catan with me. Good idea.
Starting us off with number 10 is the elevator game. This one is extremely popular in Japan, and I feel like Japan just gets creepy stuff right like 99.9% of the time, so I trust them. Either way, the point of this game is to maybe transport to another world or parallel universe of sorts. To play, you have to be in a building that has at least 10 floors, and you have to be the only one in the elevator at all times. To start the game, you have to go to a sequence of floors in a specific order, but if any random person gets in the elevator while you're doing this, you have to start all over again, so it is a bit of a mission. So the order is the 4th floor, then the 2nd, then 6th, then 2nd, then 10th, and then finally the 5th. If a woman enters the elevator while you're on the 5th floor, do not look at her, don't speak to her, no eye contact, no nothing. This woman is not human and will keep you with her forever if you have any interaction with her. Once she enters, press the 1st floor and then the elevator will go up or down as it pleases, and it should take you to the 10th floor. At this point, leave the elevator straight away. The woman will ask you in an inhuman high-pitched voice where you're going or what's wrong. Do not answer her, just go. If you exit the elevator and it's dark, your phone doesn't work, and you see a red cross outside one of the windows, then you've reached the other world. Congratulations. And the only way to get back to our world is to repeat all the steps you did to leave it, but if you reach the 1st floor and the door opens but things seem off, even if a speck of dust is out of place, then do not exit the elevator because you will die. Apparently, this is what Eliza Lamb was doing in the elevator CCTV footage of her right before she died. And I've seen that footage, but I didn't know about the game at the point, and I was like, wow. Coming in at number 9 is Dry Bones. So if you like hide and seek, you're gonna like this one, or maybe you won't, depending on how much of a scaredy cat you are. I definitely am, but yeah. So Dry Bones is like hide and seek demon edition. Great. Must they just interject in everything we do? So you can only play near midnight, and you start off by getting a candle and a match. At precisely 12:01 AM, you have to go to your bathroom and stare at the mirror while lighting the candle. Keep the match burning until it goes out completely, and then say, I am aware of your presence and I welcome you into my home. Come now. And this is essentially the point you're inviting a demon into your house, and if you've made it this far, this is the part where you run for your freaking life and hide like your life depends on it, cause it high-key does. To survive the game, you need to stay hidden till 3 AM. Once the clock hits 3, go to the largest room in your house and say thank you for playing, but you must leave now. You are no longer welcome. If you hear a groaning sound right after that, then the demon will leave your house and give you a prize of your choosing. I don't really know how this bit works, like do you have a conversation with the demon? Does it magically know what you want? I don't really know. But if you don't hear a groaning sound, then that means the demon wasn't satisfied with how you played, and let's just say you'll face a fate worse than death. So in conclusion, just don't lose. Easy. At number 8 we have 3 Kings. Now this game actually came from the No Sleep subreddit thread, which we all go and explore when we're, just feeling a type of way. Either way, in order to play you need 3 chairs. 2 have to face each other and there has to be a mirror on each one. The 3rd chair gets placed in the middle of the 2 chairs, and that one is your throne, making you the king. Hello, your highness. The mirrors constitute as your queen and your fool, but you don't know which one is which, and mind you, this all has to be done in the dark. And keep in mind, from the queen and fool's point of view, you're also either their queen or their fool. I said it was called 3 Kings, right? There have to be 3 kings. At 3:30 AM, sit on the throne with a lit candle facing one of the mirrors. Hold the candle, stare into the darkness, and start the game. The whole point of the game is to literally transport your consciousness to a whole other dimension or get to the shadow side. People have claimed they've had conversations with themselves in an out-of-body introspective experience or manner. You become able to look at your past and present through new eyes. Others have said the whole thing feels like a lucid dream almost, or meditation, which are 2 very different experiences, so I guess it really just depends on what you're like as a person. Let me know if you try it. I'd be very interested to know if you thought it was a lucid dream or meditation. Filling our number 7 slot is Concentrate. Now I totally get why a lot of people would want to play this one, and I I also get why people wouldn't, so let me know which side you fall on. So this is actually classified as a scary sleepover game, but I'm like, which 15-year-old is gonna want to play this? I would not have been doing this at 15, but that's me. Either way, if you're the one playing, you need to close your eyes and sit on the ground while a friend sits behind you reciting a dark poem about babies crying and people dying. The poem is long as hell. I'm not gonna stand here reciting the whole thing for you, but you can Google it if you want to play. While they're reciting it, the person has to be lightly tapping the back of the person who's actually playing. They then imitate murdering you in multiple ways. Get creative here, people, you know, get those slit throats in there. And then finally, your friend has to push you over from your sitting position. By the end of this whole experience, you should feel like you're in a trance of some kind, and this trance essentially allows you to see how you yourself will end up dying. Apparently, you'll see a color of some kind, and that color corresponds to a way of death. Again, you can find it on Google. Hey man, some people just want to know about the end and others don't. To each their own. I think I would not want to play this game. I don't want to know how I go. It can just remain a mystery. I don't want to predict it. I don't want to know. Now, number 6 is Baby Blue, and this is a game you actually play on your own, so maybe on a lonely Saturday night, if your friends ditch you, you can play this. Not. The purpose of the game is to basically have a baby appear in your arms, and I know you're hoping for a cute little egg of a baby, but that is not the baby you'll be getting. How to play? Go into your bathroom alone, turn the lights off, and close the door. Isolation? Check. Next, look into the mirror and cradle your arms like you're already holding a baby. Remember to support the head, people, that's very important. Next, you have to say baby blue, blue baby 13 times. When you're done, you're meant to feel the weight of a baby in your arms, and in some horrible variations of the game, you're meant to flush the baby down the toilet. And you have to do this quickly, because if you don't, a woman appears inside the mirror screaming at you, telling you to give her baby back to her. The woman can actually come out of the mirror and physically hurt you if you don't flush the baby quick enough, so get to flushing. I really don't see the appeal of this game at all. I'm not trying to get scratched or killed just for summoning a fake baby. Nah, B. Nah. Coming in at number 5 is the closet game. Now, I don't know who in their right mind would actually want to play this, but I don't judge, so if you want to play it, go right ahead. Now, the sole purpose of this game is to summon a demon into your home, whether that's to haunt it, to just spread bad juju around you. I don't know, maybe you hate your parents and you want to piss them off. Maybe you're lonely and a demon seems like good company to you, I don't know. To start the game, you have to stand in your closet with the door closed with an unlit match in your hand. You then have to say, show me the light or leave me in the darkness. Dramatic, I know. After saying this, you should hear a very faint whisper of some kind, and when you do, you have to light the match ASAP Rocky. That is key, you guys. If you don't do it quickly enough, the demon you just called upon can suck you into a pit of eternal darkness forever. That's just really not the vibe we're going for here. So light the match on time, open the closet door, and step out slowly, and voila. Your room or house should now be haunted or protected or cursed by a demon. But just a safety tip, if you do play this game, you should never look inside your closet without light after it. And if you accidentally leave your closet door open at night, you'll definitely be able to see the demon's red glowing eyes watching you from inside. And if you want that, then knock yourself out, but yeah. At number 4 is the Answer Man. Now, this is another one from Japan, and it's a bit of an urban legend. Apparently, the game invokes an evil spirit if done correctly, so if that sounds like your jam, then listen up. Now, with this one, you have to play with 10 people, so if you don't have 10 friends, I certainly don't, then you can't play the game. I'm sorry, you loner. So step 1 is to sit in a circle, and you all have to have your phones on you. On the count of 3, or just at the same time, every person has to call the person on their left and then listen. Since everyone's calling each other all at the same time, everyone should hear the busy ringtone, and no one's call should be answered. But one call will be. If your call gets answered, that is the Answer Man. If you get him on the phone, you can ask him absolutely anything, and he will answer it truthfully and rightfully. But with every question you ask, he gets to ask you a question too that you have to answer. If you answer his questions wrong or don't answer them period, then a gnarled, bony hand will appear out of the phone and tear off a piece of your body. Honestly, I'm down to play this game as long as my call isn't the one that gets answered. I don't mind being, like a spectator to the mayhem. I don't want to be involved, but I'll be eating popcorn and watching everything unfold. Safe over there. Filling our number 3 slot is the Dark Reflection Ritual, and contrary to the title title of it, it still is a game, not just a ritual, so don't worry, I didn't snake you. So the whole point of this one is to boost your luck, but to do that, you're gonna have to go through a night of terrible luck to get there. You can play this game by yourself if you're ballsy, or in a group if you're not. I would definitely play it in a group because personally there is strength in numbers and I'm not trying to die, or at least I'm not trying to die first. So you play by finding a mirror. A small handheld one is the best one to have, and you have to look at your reflection in the eyes for a few seconds. While you do this, you have to focus all your bad negative energy and breathe it onto the mirror till it fogs up completely. At that point, you quickly hold the mirror to a burning flame to create a black smudge on it. After that, the rock star can come out of you a bit because then you get to smash the mirror, which is a lot of fun. But your rock star dreams are gonna end very shortly after that because the rest of the night will be hell. Bad luck will follow you and get worse and more dangerous as the night goes on. Be on your guard, try not to die, and if you survive till the sun rises, then you've basically won at life. The game is meant to give you success in everything you do very shortly after, and to be honest, this game is sounding real tempting to me right now. Be right back. Now at number 2 is the telephone ritual. This one's extremely dangerous, so you really need to proceed with caution on this one. I mean, then again, they all are. So what you need is a phone, salt, a flashlight, but you can also use the light on your phone, and an amulet for protection. But that one's optional. I mean, how many people have a handy dandy amulet just lying around? I certainly don't. So this one can only be played alone and only at night. After midnight when you're home alone, turn off all the lights in your house and make your way to your bathroom. Scatter salt around the toilet door and make a sort of barrier of salt outside it, and then lock yourself inside. Use the flashlight to light up the surface of water in the toilet bowl and just keep staring at the water. And please try not to or something in there beforehand, because that's just going to make for a very unpleasant game. While still staring into the bowl, call your house phone and let it ring, and don't hang up. And at this point, one of two things can happen. If you start seeing the surface of the water change, or you hear a noise from inside the house, then hang up ASAP and scatter salt all around yourself. Now the second thing that can happen is that if someone answers your call, then hang up straight away, get the hell out of the toilet, put salt around the house phone, and hopefully you'll be safe in that moment, but not for long. To be on the safest side, just sprinkle salt all around your house after this. But the point of the game is that apparently the ghost of an ancestor or a spirit that haunts your house is meant to answer the phone and kind of just be in your house. I'm honestly not trying to awaken any demon ghost entity that lives in my house. You can just stay in hibernation, thank you. And finally, at number 1 is the picture game. If you're a paranormal ghost lover, then saddle up, because this one is for you, and there are many rules to this one, so pay attention please, and thank you. Any number of people can play, and the point is to catch a ghost or entity on camera. You have to start the game at midnight in a quiet room. Out of string or rope, make a circle by tying the ends together and place this rope circle in the middle of your chosen room. Place a glass in the middle of the rope circle and fill it with wine or any alcoholic drink, really. Then everyone should sit in a circle around the rope and have a mirror in front of them, but the reflective part has to be facing the ceiling. A lot of rules, I know, but that's just the setup. Now the game actually begins. Everyone has to close their eyes, hold hands, and one after the other say, "I trust you." Not all at once, one after the other. After everyone's done that, everyone has to say, "The door is open, please come in," 3 times in unison, and then you can open your eyes. With a camera, every person has to say, "I caught you," then take a picture of the middle of the circle. Don't preview the photo, just say the words and take it. Then pass the camera around and repeat till each person has taken 3 pictures, so the camera's gone around the circle 3 times at that point. At any point, if anyone starts feeling like vomiting or begins to cry, do not let them take any pictures, just make them pass the camera on. Once you've done all that, put the camera down, close your eyes again, and say it is time to go home 3 times in unison. Each person has to then turn their mirror upside down, put the lights on, and use some sharp tool to cut the rope circle, empty the drink into the earth, and review the pictures and prepare to be shocked. If you do end up doing this, please show me if you see anything weird on your camera film, like I really want to know. Camera film? We're in the digital era. Your SD card.